Hey, what's up guys? In today's video, we're going to be talking about some interesting PlayStation news. If that sounds interesting, leave a like on the video and consider subscribing if you're new. It really helps the channel grow. The first topic of the video has to do with Elden Ring and a new update regarding a quality and performance mode. This is coming from PlayStation Lifestyle and it reads, Elden Ring will offer quality and performance modes according to retailer listing. A GameStop listing has revealed that From Software's highly anticipated Elden Ring will feature both quality and performance modes on the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. The listing in question is for the PS5 version specifically, but mentions the power of next-gen consoles. The listing reads, Multiplayer. Players will be able to enjoy their experience with other Tarnished and the lands between by cooperating or invading other people's worlds. Players on PS4 and PS5 will be able to play on the same servers. Enhanced experience. Using the power of the new generation of consoles, PlayStation 5 will allow players to personalize their experience by choosing between graphic mode to enhance the game's visuals up to 4K or performance mode for a higher frame rate up to 60 FPS. From Software recently released 20 minutes of Elden Ring gameplay following the announcement of a delay and a closed network test. The game will now release on February 25th, 2022. And the article just goes on to show dates for those closed network tests, so I'm not going to read that to you guys. If you want to find out for yourselves, I'll link the article down in the description below. But I thought this was a interesting article. It seems like most games nowadays are going to be offering either a quality or performance mode because there's a lot of people that prefer quality, like 4K resolutions, and then there's the other side where people mainly care about gameplay and to them graphics aren't as important, so they need to be playing at 60 FPS. Now me personally, I am more of a fan of quality, but over the past year and a half, I have gotten used to 60 frames a second. So, I mean, honestly, I don't really care about 4K. If I could choose, I am totally fine with 1080p, 60 FPS. I think that's the best of both worlds. But down in the comment section, let me know what you guys prefer. Do you prefer quality or do you prefer performance when it comes to gameplay? Moving on to the next topic in the video, we're going to be taking some time to discuss an update from the Avengers game because we now have a release date for Spider-Man. This is coming from PlayStation Lifestyle and it says, Marvel's Avengers finally getting PlayStation exclusive Spider-Man hero event later this month. We've known for more than a year that Spider-Man would eventually be coming to Marvel's Avengers exclusively for PlayStation players, and now the web slinger finally has a release date. Starting November 30th, PlayStation players can take part in the Spider-Man with Great Power hero event, which will let you experience Spider-Man's story through unlockable challenges woven throughout the Avengers initiative. Here's how Crystal Dynamics describes Peter Parker's story in the upcoming event. Quote, Peter Parker uncovers AIM's new plan to acquire technology that could make their synthoid army unstoppable and total domination inevitable. He must partner with the Avengers to stop this looming threat and forms a tentative friendship with Ms. Marvel and Black Widow while keeping his identity hidden. As a hero accustomed to working solo, he struggles with the new dynamics of working with a team. Will he join up full-time with the Avengers or stay independent in his fight against AIM? At this point, there aren't any additional details about Spider-Man or how he'll play or even images of what he looks like in the game, but Crystal Dynamics promises more reveals throughout the month via blogs, social posts, and live streams. Spider-Man isn't the only thing coming in the November 30th Marvel's Avengers update though. It will also mark the launch of the new Claw Raid Discordant Sound, which requires a top-tier squad of 4 players to take on, with a power level increase from 150 to 175. The Claw Raid will be the only way to get the game's best gear. There are a few other quality of life changes on the way too. Gear upgrading will allow you to recycle higher powered gear, bringing up lower power gear to match it. Shipments will be a new feature allowing players to earn cosmetics, resources, and other items via gameplay, and the update will also make weekly objectives hero-based rather than account-based. It will begin with the Adaptoid mission chain and new Claw Raid, but they are working to make the hero bounce system apply to other activities, as well as having it active on future events and additions. All of this comes shortly after Square Enix made comments alleging that Crystal Dynamics may not have been the right studio for the disappointing Marvel's Avengers, suggesting that Crystal Dynamics didn't have the right attributes and experience to tackle a game as a service title. Square Enix doesn't, however, question its own decision to push for Marvel's Avengers to be a games as a service, despite the near universal praise for the single-player adventure that was Guardians of the Galaxy, which ironically also came from Square Enix. PlayStation players can expect to start playing as a web-slinging Spider-Man and Marvel's Avengers on November 30th. You know, if you would have asked me If I was hyped for Spider-Man coming to the Avengers game like 6 months ago, I would have said yes. But the way that this game has turned out, I'm really not excited. I am an extremely huge fan of Marvel and the Avengers, and Spider-Man is my favorite superhero of all time. And it also doesn't help that I recently played Guardians of the Galaxy, and the only difference between that and the Avengers game is one game focuses on the story and there's no multiplayer, and then the other game is a games as a service. That's the difference. Guardians of the Galaxy is a freaking phenomenal game. It is my game of the year. I was completely blown away by it. And as far as the Avengers goes, I'm kind of torn because the story that we get from the characters are pretty good. But then once that's over for like months at a time, you just have to keep playing the same levels over and over, and you have to grind to level up. And honestly, I only pick up the game whenever like a new character comes. And I probably will check out Spider-Man because it's Spider-Man, but I was really disappointed with the War for Wakanda because I thought it was going to be like some massive expansion, and it was only like 3 hours long. So if anything, this Spider-Man DLC will be like 2 or 3 hours long. And honestly, Spider-Man probably won't be joining the Avengers. It'll probably be just like a one-time thing where he helps them take out this threat and then he leaves because he can't become like a part of the game, like the main story, because he's exclusive to PlayStation and this game is multi-plat, so it comes out on Xbox as well, so that wouldn't make sense. This is just going to be a one-time thing and then he's not going to be in the game anymore. So if you guys are excited, like if you haven't bought this game and you're just wanting to buy it to play as Spider-Man, I highly recommend that you do not do that. If you want to play Spider-Man, go out and buy 2018 Spider-Man or Spider-Man Miles Morales. Those are actual Spider-Man games. And I would recommend the Guardians of the Galaxy game over the Avengers game. Down in the comment section, let me know how you guys feel about Spider-Man officially having a release date for this Avengers game. Are you excited for it? Do you care? And also let me know who is your favorite superhero. To end the video, I want to take some time to discuss an update for Insomniac's Wolverine. This is coming from Game Rant, and the headline reads, Insomniac's Wolverine will feature gouges, severs, gashes. Insomniac Games' standalone Wolverine game will feature a considerable amount of graphic combat according to recent hiring notices from developers. Little is known from officially shared details about Marvel's Wolverine. Rather, Marvel's Wolverine's announcement teaser set the stage for the game's violent tone, which is appropriate since Wolverine is arguably one of Marvel's most violent characters. Wolverine lends himself to a video game adaptation well, as his healing factor can provide a logical explanation for self-regeneration properties, but fans have wondered whether or not Marvel's Wolverine would fully capitalize on the animalistic brutality that comes with Logan being engineered as a killing machine with an adamantium skeleton. Fortunately, an Insomniac Games developer has confirmed that Marvel's Wolverine does not intend to pull its punches with the character's oftentimes lethal combat. Drew Murray, Insomniac's principal designer, has recently shared a job posting from Sean McCabe, Insomniac's head of technology, about a gameplay programmer role at Insomniac. Murray chimes in to depict the degree of brutality in Marvel's Wolverine when he states that the respective programmer will also be responsible for cuts, slashes, gouges, severs, gashes, stabs, and everything else that goes with moving and playing as Logan. Insomniac's gameplay programmer position in McCabe mentioned that the role seeks a programmer who excels at designing and implementing character behavior, controls, and camera for third-person AAA action games. However, with as subtle as this original description is, Murray's portrayal of Logan therefore infers that players will have dynamic combat that allows them to execute enemies with dismemberments and other gory attack animations in Marvel's Wolverine. With Marvel Spider-Man and Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales sharing a considerably lighter tone in its approach to combat, it may be a surprise to players that Insomniac's Wolverine game will feature such gory and graphic animations, but the tone in Spider-Man's source material is also considerably lighter than some of Wolverine's, and it is an appropriate dynamic to showcase that, particularly when bare-knuckle brawls would perhaps feel unsatisfying to players if Logan's claws were not fully available for use. It is possible also that Marvel's Wolverine narrative will provide a logistical reason for players to be executing enemies in such a fashion, but not much else is known aside from development details that have been released about who is involved, such as Spec Ops: The Line's Walt D. Williams being Marvel's Wolverine's main story lead. Until more details are shared, it may excite fans nonetheless to hear that the berserker combat that Wolverine is known for will be prevalent in Marvel's Wolverine. So yeah guys, that is extremely good news to hear. This isn't shocking to me, especially once it got confirmed that this game was going to have a mature tone. You know, you can't really make a Wolverine game without there being at least a little bit of gore, because, you know, if you have claws coming out of your hands and you like stab someone or cut someone, like there's going to be blood, you know. And if you give those claws to a superhuman like Wolverine, then yeah, there's definitely going to be some limbs ripped off, and I think that's awesome. It'll just make the game more realistic, because could you imagine if you are playing as Wolverine and you like stab someone and no blood comes out? You know, it just wouldn't be realistic. So this is good news. So far, every single thing that we've heard about this game seems amazing. The one downside though is it's not going to be coming out for a while. I wouldn't expect it until at least 2024, maybe 2025. It's definitely not going to come out until after Spider-Man 2, and Spider-Man 2 isn't coming out until 2023. So, but it also will be a PlayStation 5 exclusive, so it will not be held back at all with the PlayStation 4. So down in the comment section, let me know what you think about this article. Do you find it interesting? Are you excited that there's going to be a lot of gore, or at least a considerable amount of gore, in this Marvel Wolverine game? And also let me know if you're more excited for Spider-Man 2 or this standalone Wolverine game. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button and turn post notifications on so you don't miss my next upload. Until next time, guys, take care.